All right, let's learn how to play an acoustic version of Dazed and Confused, a song famously written by how I feel when I wake up from a nap. And if you haven't seen the version that I did with Jada, that this is based off of, click the link below to maybe check that out first to see what it sounds like. But this is basically an acoustic representation of the classic Led Zeppelin song, okay? And the way that Jimmy Page plays it is generally something like this. So it's got a couple chromatic walk downs, right? So you hit the E string and then you just go to the 10th fret on the A string right here. So it goes 10, 9, 8, 7. Or you can go 10, 9, bend that 7 to the 8th fret or past the 8th fret and then back to the 7, right? And then the second set is E, 5, 4, 3, 2, right? So kind of two chromatic walk downs. Chromatic just meaning one note at a time, right? So basically, the 10th fret on that A string is a G note. Now, I could have played it just like that and had her sing to it because she's such an amazing singer, she would have made it work, but my approach to doing accompanying acoustic stuff is to kind of always incorporate chords whenever possible. So I always try to arrange stuff in a way where the melody is within a chord because I just think it sounds fuller, I think it sounds better. Again, better is relative, but just kind of my style of doing it ended up sounding like this. So that's the main part, and we're going to talk about how I kind of am incorporating that in a different part of the neck. So like I said, the 10th fret on the A string is a G. Now if we took a G on the D string, we would actually end up on the 5th fret. So we could play the same thing in the same way, the exact same notes, hitting the E string, and then doing two chromatic walks just on the 5th fret of the D string, 5, 4, 3, 2, and then the A string, 5, 4, 3, 2. Right? Actually kind of like a good warm-up because you can use every finger for every fret, right? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the open E string, its 5th, E, F, G, A, B, right? B is the 5th note, and E. So I have kind of like an E minor, or E power chord type thing going on, right? Now, I'm going to incorporate the melody on top of this power chord every time. So instead of just going 5, 4, 3, 2, I'm adding it on top of this E and this B. Okay, so I'm actually kind of walking my way to an E minor chord, open E to A to D. All right, and then maybe adding some strums in between. And if you know anything about E minor, all the open strings are in that scale, right? They can go with that chord. Okay? So even if I'm aiming for the lowest 3 strings and I get another G, I get a 4th string in there, or another B, it's all gonna sound good. So it's cool, you don't have to be super precise to play it. Now sometimes I'll play it a little bit differently, depending on the part of the song that it's in, to try to keep it dynamic, to try to keep it interesting, because it's not really that busy of an arrangement. So maybe one of the times it sounds like this. Okay, so I'm doing essentially the same thing, but I'm getting a little bit more of the single string. So in that example, I was going... I'm kind of getting E, A, D, B, G, D. Something like that, right? Again, I'm not being too precise, just feeling it. Just feeling the music, putting myself inside the shoes of someone who is truly dazed and confused. So that's just the first chromatic rundown. Now I can do the same thing on the 5th fret, 4th fret, 3rd fret, 2nd fret of the A string, right? But why play the 5th fret on the A string, that note is a D, when you've got a perfectly good open D string right there? So after we get... I'm just opening up that D string, making actually a different chord. This would be an E minor 7. Again, the name of the chord isn't super important, just it sounds good. And then I've got to get to the 4th fret, bum 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 bum, the C sharp there, right? So from here, I'm actually going to make this kind of like a C sharp and its minor 3rd with that E on top. So I've got open E, or the E on the bottom actually, open E, 4A, 2D. Right, just to kind of get a little more minorness going on because it is kind of a dark song, right? So eventually the whole thing is going to sound like open to a 5D, open to a 4D, open to a 3D, open to a 2D, open to a open D, open for a 2D. Okay, so. And then the glory of the C major 7 chord. Again, you knew it's a Sean Daniel cover because there's a way to work a C major 7 or any major 7 chord into it somehow. Now, if we still go by the notes we talked about at the beginning, we have a C and a B, rounding it out. So I'm choosing to play that C and that B in that exact same chord, right? A C major chord with a B in it is a C major 7. So because this one chord has both my basses covered, the C and B, I kind of stay on that for both of those notes' duration. So that's kind of like a double lengthwise as far as everything else. 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right? And then the second time around, what's that? It's a different voicing of a C major 7. Okay? Same chord. Because who doesn't love variety in their acoustic Led Zeppelin cover songs? So this voicing right here, if you don't know, which you should know by now, come on, is 3A, 5D, 4G, there's that B, that major 7, 5B. You can bar it to get 3 on the high E string too. If you're an OG, you can do that. You can leave it open to kind of get another E string in there too, right? Or you can not even play it at all. So we've just got the run. Second time. All right. Now after that, we've got this. So this is kind of an homage. Is it homage or is it homage? I've heard it pronounced both ways. Really not. I'm dazed and confused grammatically right now as well. But in the solo of that song, it has this kind of thing up here, which is really just kind of like a E minor pentatonic thing. A string, 12, 14, same thing, D string, G, and backwards. We can do that an octave lower. That's the same thing as doing this. Doing that over an E minor chord. Right? So I was kind of working that into the next part. Just kind of going with that back and forth between an E minor chord and that little run, and then maybe adding the classic rock riff, E minor with that G, maybe bend it a little bit. The more you bend it, the bluesier it gets. I wasn't playing it like that, but you know, it's like So, basically, that exact same riff ends up becoming an outro near the end, which is more like... So it's the exact same thing. You're just running A string, open 2, D string, open 2, G string. But then, oh my gosh, the money shot right there. What is that? It's kind of like a C major 7 that we did earlier. 3E, 3A, 2D, open everywhere else, except your middle finger is going to go down to grab that A note, right? All right, so we're opening up the D string and getting an extra A, or just the first A here. All right. E minor, walk it all the way to that A, and then back to the C, and that's what took us out, okay? The only other part really is the I guess you call this like a breakdown that Jada was kind of riffing over. So again, if you listen to the original song or the Zeppelin song, it's amazing, you know. And again, I was just trying to kind of copy a little bit of what they were doing acoustic guitar-wise, getting a G to an E minor. So I'm getting the 3rd fret on the E string and the 2nd fret on the A string, palm muting, and then opening that up to get open E into A. 1, 2, 3, 4, E. And then some mutes, 1, 2, and 3. And then we're gonna go to an open A power chord, open A, 2D, G, E, A, E. So we really, this right here, the 7th fret of the A string is another E. An octave here. G, 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 E, A, 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 E. And you gotta get that slide to make it, you know, to make it sound nasty, right? And then we just go back in for the big. Make sure you exaggerate that like you're doing something really, really impressive. I catch myself doing that all the time. I'm like, what are you doing? Yeah, it's. I don't know. I think I probably learned that from like Esteban, like as a child or something. Just a rake, right? And that's basically the entire song. Feel free to put those parts together in whatever order you want. But yeah, that's dazed and confused. So hopefully that's not how you're feeling right now, watching me try to explain that. But if you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section, Instagram, Twitter, or the website, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thanks a lot.